Hello, I'm here again to talk about an issue that is I kind of agree with and kind of don't. And that's an article written by Laurie Penny entitled, I Was a Manic Pixie Dream Girl. Now, I do acknowledge that in media and in everyday life, there are lots of instances where women are devalued and dehumanized, really. I am not going to deny that. I will be the first one to admit that that is a problem and it needs to stop. However, I also don't agree with or condone grasping at straws. And I don't think that, you know what, I should probably just back up and explain a little bit. In her article, I Was a Manic Pixie Dream Girl, Laurie Penny goes into a bit of her own life experiences, which I don't really feel I can speak to. So I have more questions for her about that rather than saying, no, you're wrong, and here's my rebuttal. But she brings in some characters from popular media. I don't know if anyone watching this watches the show Doctor Who. If you don't, you need to reassess your life choices because it's an awesome show and you will end up in tears in the fetal position 90% of the time, but it's totally worth it. So go check that out. Then come watch this video again. I'll wait. You back? Okay, good, cool. Well, if you've seen the show or if you just left to go see the show and you came back to this, like, I don't know how much longer it would take to watch all of Doctor Who, but there are some characters there called Amy Pond and River Song. And Laurie Penny accuses those ladies of being manic pixie dream girls. She says Amy Pond was that girl. Clara Oswald has been that girl. River Song, interestingly enough, did not start out as that girl, but the character was forcibly turned into that girl when she no longer fit the temper of a series with contempt for powerful, interesting, grown-up women, and then discarded when she outgrew the role. Don't let him see your age was River's main piece of advice in the last season. The Girl Who Waited is not a real person, nor is The Impossible Girl. Those are the titles of stories. They are stories that happen to other people. That's what girls are supposed to be. Men grow up expecting to be the hero of their own story. Women grow up expecting to be the supporting actress in somebody else's. Okay. Wow. Wrong. I mean, the second part of it is completely valid and I like it, but not as it supposedly relates to Doctor Who. Amelia Pond was not a manic pixie dream girl. The first time Amy met the Doctor was when she was a kid. The second time was when, 12 years later, the Atraxi came to Earth, and the third time was 2 years after that, the night before her wedding. More on that wedding in a bit. Amy was a ginger who took no mess from anybody and was never afraid to call the Doctor out when he was being an idiot. She was a little girl who had a fantastic dream that affected her on a deeply emotional level and that she was forced to grow up and stop thinking about. But she went down fighting. Not that I'm condoning the biting of medical professionals, but I mean, she bit all of her therapists because they told her the doctor wasn't real. I could go on for a whole 3.5 hours about how that's a powerful metaphor for women and people in general being told to set aside childish things and being forced and shoehorned into unfulfilling, boring, more chore things, but I won't. Let's just take it at face value. Amy was exposed to something really freaking cool and she wanted to experience it again, so when she got the chance, she took it. And she went off to go have adventures like fighting pirates and chilling with Vincent van Gogh for a day and saving a freaking star whale. And she furthermore didn't give up her dreams for the sake of family and her man, etc., etc. She got married and then she took her husband along with her. She didn't just find room, she made room for all the important things in her life. The traveling she loved to do, saving the universe, her best friend, her husband. That's pretty freaking awesome. And River Song, are you kidding me? She's fantastic. She's sexy, smart, and fearless, and her childhood, so to speak, that's really confusing and headache inducing. But if you know anything about River Song's timeline, you know that it's a major oversimplification to say that she had multiple childhoods. And one childhood was where she grew up listening to her mother talk about and super romanticize and idealize all these awesome adventures that she would have had with this random dude in a blue box among the stars. And River was like, I want a part of that. And on the other side of the coin, she was brainwashed and told that this scary man out there was wrecking the universe one planet at a time, and that she had the power to defeat him. And while she may have actively started out trying to kill the Doctor, she took a good hard look at her circumstances and then threw all the brainwashing out of the window and decided to discover who the Doctor was for herself. And then she fell in love with him, and she continued to kick butt. In fact, none of the female companions have ever qualified as manic pixie dream girls. I probably should have started with this, but the definition of Manic Pixie Dream Girl is that bubbly, shallow, cinematic creature that exists solely in the fevered imaginations of sensitive writer-directors to teach broodingly soulful young men to embrace life and its infinite mysteries and adventures, as according to Nathan Rabin, who is credited with coining the term. The entire point of the companions on Doctor Who is that they have lives outside of him. Rose had an established life. She had a boyfriend and a mom and a job in a shop. She didn't just pop out of the cosmos and appear one day. She made her own choices. She learned, she cared, and she was actually a pretty accurate description of what I was like at 19, a whole 6 months ago. I was a cashier at Meyer. I lived with my mother. I went to school and I felt pretty stuck in my life. And let me tell you, if a man in a big blue box appeared on my doorstep and was just like, hey, yo, run for your life and also want to see every cool thing that has ever existed in the history of all of time and space, I'd be super hard pressed to decline. And I know for a fact that I'm not the only one. Donna was getting married, and even when that didn't work out, she still declined the doctor the first time around because she had a life and substance and things outside of him. And when she finally did get on the TARDIS, she made not only a huge impact on the doctor, but on everyone. She wasn't always right. She was told that you can't change the world by shouting at it, but she tried anyway. She tried. Martha, Martha Jones, lovely Martha Jones, she was one of the most unimpressed companions ever of New Who in the beginning. She made the Doctor earn her respect. She had a family and a life and dreams of her own. In fact, she even left because she had dreams of her own. She wanted to be a doctor herself. She knew she would never get the chance if she stayed with 10. She would also never replace Rose, but that's another story. As for the don't let 'em see you age line, that has nothing to do with Amy being a manic pixie dream girl and everything to do with the doctor hating change because change always brings endings with it. And more than anything, the doctor hates endings. That's why the doctor is upset. It isn't because he keeps losing his girlfriends or his manic pixie dream girls. He's upset because he's losing his best friends. And he keeps on losing them. That is literally the entire basis of the show. After the Time War, the doctor became the literal embodiment of the phrase, everything I love dies. He's the last of his kind, and it's all his fault. And on top of that, he can't keep his human friends around him either. He keeps letting them down. They either die or get trapped in parallel dimensions or just straight up throw up the deuces and leave. But the Doctor hasn't just lost Rose and Martha and Donna and Amy and River. He also lost Jack and Mickey and Rory and Alonzo and so many others. And he felt each and every single one of those losses on a personal, spiritual, and deeply emotional level. I'm not saying Doctor Who doesn't have its problems. It does. It definitely does. Every show does. But slapping a label on Manic Pixie Dream Girl on something fixes nothing. I hate that term almost as much as I hate the term Mary Sue. I've never been big on the whole letting someone else tell me what I'm allowed to be thing. I think one of the most baseline parts of feminism that a whole lot of women forget is that no one, female or not, has the right to tell you how to be happy. As long as you aren't infringing on the basic rights of anyone else, you go right ahead and dress in nothing but poodle skirts and kitten heels and push-up bras and bright red lipstick if that makes you happy. If you want to do nothing but clean all day and fix your man a drink when he gets home, that is your prerogative. And if you want to burn every single bra you own, use nothing but diva cups, and make six figures and never talk to another male in your entire life, you go, girl. But you have no right to tell other women how they're allowed to live their lives. If a woman is happy and making her own choices and has agency, leave her alone. She has achieved it. That is like at least 70% of what we're fighting for. In conclusion to that, who are you to tell a fictional character what they can't be? It's fiction. That is the entire point. To think of the most fantastical, unrealistic things and give them an existence in a universe of your own design. If you don't like a character, that's perfectly fine, but don't write off an entire section or genre of characters with a stupid 2 to 4 word descriptor and thereby erase all validity. Furthermore, even if Manic Pixie Dream Girl or Mary Sue were a valid description of fictional characters, make sure the characters you're ascribing them to actually deserve the title. And to the author, Laurie Penny. First of all, I love your name. That is fantastic. And I'm so sorry that society sucks and 90% of the time that you feel that you've had to let go of some things and become a real grown-up woman. One of my favorite lines was, I try hard now around the men in my life to be as unmanic and unpixie and as resolutely real as possible because I don't want to give the wrong impression. And it's a struggle because I remain a small, friendly, excitable person who wears witchy colors and has a tendency towards the twee. I still know that if I wanted to, I could attract one of those lost, pretty nerd boys I have such a weakness for by dialing up the tweet and dialing down the smart. Just as I know that the hurt in their eyes when they realize you're a real person is not something I ever want to see again. I still love to up sticks and go on adventures, but I no longer drag mournful men children behind me when I do because, frankly, it's exhausting. I still play the ukulele. I wasn't kidding about the ukulele, but I refuse to burn my energy adding extra magic and sparkle to other people's lives to get them to love me. I'm busy casting spells for myself. Everyone who has ever told a fairy tale knows what happens to women who do their own magic. In the first part of that paragraph, you sound like you're changing yourself to make other people happy. I mean, I try hard around the men in my life to be as unmanic and unpixie as resolutely possible. I mean, my question to you would be, do you really feel that the problem was with the fact that you play ukulele and had oddly colored hair? Or do you think the problem was with the men who couldn't accept all the sides of you? The side of you that reveled in having pink hair and sucking at playing guitar, and the side that writes about politics for a living. And since you said adding extra sparkle and magic to other people's lives to get them to love me, do you feel that to some degree you were putting on an act and that's why you were unhappy? A Manic Pixie Dream Girl has never existed and never will because even if you take a character like Zoe Deschanel in 500 Days of Summer, you have to realize that A, the story wasn't told from Summer's point of view, and B, Summer had a life and existence of her own. She continued to exist even after she broke up with Tom. She found someone else. She did things with her life. And Tom found another girl to obsess over. I personally think that everyone who comes into my life is there for a reason, and a lot of the time that reason is to teach me something, to in some way make my life better, to add sparkle and magic. And I hope I add sparkle and magic to a lot of other people's lives. I am a black, natural redhead, 5'3", who speaks French, loves to write novels but can't finish one to save my life, majoring in journalism at the community college, fully intending to live in Paris one day, and my dream car is a bright orange pickup truck. My favorite flowers are sunflowers, and the Celtic folk band The High Kings have been on my most played list for about 3 months now. If you excuse the black part, that's pretty much a picture perfect description of a manic pixie dream girl. But if that's all you ever take away from your experience of me as a person, that's not my fault. Calling a character or a person a manic pixie dream girl is about as valid as calling someone a fake nerd girl or a fake girl gamer. Short, petite girls with weird hair and glasses and funky taste in music exist, and they have every right to. If you choose to see them as nothing more than that, then that's your problem, not theirs. So, I mean, those are just my thoughts on the Manic Pixie Dream Girl trope and why it is completely, totally, utterly, and most sincerely not a valid thing. If that's the only thing you take away from someone as a person, then you need to do some reassessing and some soul searching and figure out why you view people that way. Because I guarantee you that that's not all that there is to them. I mean, even Laurie Penny said herself that we've never really seen something in popular media, whether it be a book or a television show or a movie, that's told from the Manic Pixie Dream Girl's point of view. I mean, I feel like that's a better solution than just running around calling every character that you feel like is underdeveloped or that you don't like certain aspects of because they're too perfect or they're too this or too that, a Manic Pixie Dream Girl, and just writing them off completely as if they have nothing of value to add to the world. That's rude. And it's even worse when you apply it to real people because if, like I said, if that's all you get from your experience of someone as a person, that is definitely a character flaw on your part and not theirs, and you have no right to make them feel less than by giving them a two-word descriptor. If you can boil down my entire personality to a four-word sentence, Manic Pixie Dream Girl, that's on you, not me. Well, I don't know if you guys agree. I don't know if you feel like I'm on the right track, but I really appreciate hearing all of your comments. All feedback is appreciated. And thanks so much for watching. I guess I'll catch you guys later. Bye.